Dear children, welcome to Chapter 3 Nationalism in India Part 3. Now in this we are going to learn how different groups of participants in the society saw and participated in the civil disobedience movement. So first of all we are going to discuss about the participation of the rich peasant communities in civil disobedience movement. The rich peasant communities like the Patidars of Gujarat and the Jats of Uttar Pradesh had actively participated in the civil disobedience movement. They were the producers of cash crops. As their cash income disappeared, they found it difficult to pay the government tax. So, for them participating in the civil disobedience movement and fight for Swaraj was a struggle against high revenues. They started organizing their communities for the civil disobedience movement. Even those who were reluctant were also forced to participate. But when the movement was called off in 1931 without reduction in revenue, they felt really disappointed. Hence, they refused to participate in 1932 when the movement was relaunched. Now, let us see the participation of the poor peasants in the civil disobedience movement. The poor peasants who had small land holdings and were generally tenants were badly hit by the fall in prices of food grains. They demanded for the cancellation of the revenue or the rent they had to pay. These peasants were never able to get support from the Congress as the party was unwilling to support no rent campaign because this might upset the rich peasants and landlords. Now we are going to see the participation of rich Indian businessmen and industrialists in the civil disobedience movement. During the First World War, the Indian businessmen and industrialists earned huge profits and became very powerful. As they wanted to expand their business, they started reacting against the British policies that were against the expansion of their business. The rich businessmen demanded for protection against the imported goods. They also demanded for a rupee sterling foreign exchange ratio that would discourage imports. The industrialists, in order to demand for their rights, formed the Indian Industrial and Commercial Congress in 1920 and the Federation of the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries in 1927. Indian industrialists under the leadership of some very important industrialists like Purushottam Das Thakur Das and G.D. Birla attacked the British control over the Indian economy and supported the civil disobedience movement when it was launched for the first time. They not only participated in it by refusing to buy or sell imported goods, but also financially supported it. For most of them, Swaraj meant a time when the British restrictions on business will be removed and the Indian trade and industry would flourish. But when it was revealed that the Round Table Conference failed, the business groups no longer felt excited about the civil disobedience movement. They were worried about the spread of militant activities that could disrupt the business and also were not in favor of the growing socialism among the young Congress members. Now let us see the industrial workers and their role in the civil disobedience movement. The industrial workers did not participate in the movement in large numbers. Only it was in Nagpur where the participation was seen among the workers. They followed the Gandhian program of boycott of foreign goods as part of their own movements against low wages and inadequate working environment. So, for them, their struggle was for adequate wages and good working environment. So, there were strikes by railway workers in 1930 and dock workers in 1932. In 1930, thousands of workers in Chotanagpur tin mines participated in rallies by wearing Gandhi caps. Now, let us see the participation of women in the civil disobedience movement. Last but not the least was the participation by women in the civil disobedience movement. Women had participated at a very large scale. During Gandhiji's Salt March, thousands of women went to listen to him. They participated in protest marches, manufactured salt, and picketed the liquor shops and foreign cloth shops. Many of them even went to jail. These women were either from high caste families in urban areas or from rich peasant households of rural areas. Inspired by Gandhiji, all women took it as their sacred duty to participate in the national movement, though this participation did not bring any change in their social status. Even the Congress was also reluctant in including women in their organization. Thank you, children.